All right, Detroit Lions shocked the Baltimore Ravens 38-30. Went to Baltimore a couple years ago. I believe it was Jameer Gibbs' rookie season. I think he scored his first career touchdown, and they literally splattered us. I think a year or two before that, they shocked us at home. Yeah, they shocked us at the crib. I think on the Justin Tucker field goal, late like long field goal. I mean, that's the game Hollywood Brown like dropped the ball 1,000 times. So, and I think historically we only beat the Baltimore Ravens once, and that was in 2005 on Monday Night Football in Detroit in Ford Field. Right now, the thing about it is the Lions have they have a reputation for being a dome team. So, I mean, I even run into fans who don't even notice is that the Lions didn't lose a road game last year. All their losses came at home, including the game versus Washington. So I guess people just tend not to pay attention, just believe stereotypes. You know, they went to Green Bay in the cold last season in the rain. And they put hands, foot, and toes on Green Bay. People tend to forget that. They put the smackdown on Green Bay in the rain. And really, Green Bay shouldn't even have scored a touchdown. I think Amik Roberts got a penalty, which they never showed the replay on that particular penalty. So, but yeah, I mean, the Lions is going anywhere. Rain, sleet, snow, sunny. You know, was something that Matt Patricia was trying to implement by having them practice outside, and whatever Patricia was trying to implement amongst the Detroit Lions, Dan Campbell has instilled that toughness. I don't know what he did. I think, you know, Patricia was a rocket scientist, and a lot of times you see people who are very smart, they lack in social skills. That's the trade-off. So a lot of the people that's super duper smart tend to lack in social skills, whatever reason that may be. And Dan Campbell, you know, being in the locker room, being the former player, I think one of the reasons they got Dan was from the simple fact that they went from a dictator at head coach that nobody liked, a disciplinarian in Matt Patricia, to a player's coach. I think that was the big thing about it. But tonight, you know, they came to play big boy football. You know, I know Baltimore is missing one of their better defensive players on the front end, in Calvin Noy, and he was drafted here. He didn't do absolutely shit here. I'll tell you that. He didn't do shit. He didn't do a damn thing. But in New England, he made a name for himself, and, you know, shout out to him. But, you know, today it was really about how physical the Lions were. You know, how physical, you know, the Lions were up front. I mean, they moved mountains, they imposed their will. You know, Graham Glasgow, he started off a little slow, but they imposed their will. And usually, you know, it's looking like the Lions seem a lot more comfortable with pass blocking. Seemed like the run blocking took a little bit time to come in, and historically, a lot of times the run blocking it comes faster. No Diddy, no Harvey Weinstein, no Kevin Spacey. It comes a lot faster than pass blocking. But for whatever reason, it's seeming like the pass blocking is the pass blocking. I mean, the run blocking. The run blocking is just now catching up to the pass blocking, which is unusual, but they doing their thing. And tonight it was just about being more physical than the Baltimore Ravens. And Buffalo proved to be more physical with the Baltimore Ravens, and the Lions, you know, pretty much cut their teeth and marked their territory, being more physical than the Baltimore Ravens. And the great thing about it, you could talk about a lot of things offensively going on with it, but the great thing was defensively, Al Qaeda Muhammad, he was the difference. His hustle, his grit, his grind, you know, his speed, his body length and athleticism, that he had. I mean, at the end of the day, it was amazing. You just wonder, like, why were they trying to force Marcus Davenport on this guy? And maybe had they, used Al Qaeda Muhammad more, you know what I'm saying? Had they used him more and sprinkled in Davenport, maybe Davenport would have survived a little bit longer. But I look for them to possibly go out there and get more help. You'll get Josh Pascal back, but I think they still, in my opinion, I think they're gonna strengthen that defensive line. But today it was phenomenal. Talik Williams continues the ball. The linebackers played lights out, whether it was Nowalski, a local guy, whether it was Derek Barnes, whether it was Alexander Zoni. I mean, you can go on and on and on with the number of guys that played really, really well tonight. Jack Campbell got his face lit up and played well. Now, with some questionable plays in the secondary, in my opinion. I'm not mad at Amik playing in the nickel, but Brian Branch, I think he dropped a pick. DJ Reed dropped a pick that really both of them picks should have put the game out of reach. And Terrion Arnold is going to be the talk of the town. He continues to get burned. He got burned by the speedster in Denver. So I think a lot of people is like, comparing him to Jeff Okudah. I don't think it's that bad. I think he just got to eliminate some of those big plays down the field. I don't think he's like completely off the screen or getting blew out like Jeff Okudah, but he is going to be a topic of discussion. Coming forward. But other than that, he played pretty tight all night, man. No, did he? Outside of those plays. So I think, for the most part, he's going to get his fair share of backlash, and he's got for the most part, an uphill battle, the battle for the Lions, because he has a reputation that's now crept into this year. So a lot of people are mad about him, and you'll probably hear calls for Amik to go on the outside of him. But then you just, continue to wonder, like, Jesus Christ, what if you think like, damn, what would have been Ennis Rackstraw? Would have struggled? Or would he be the one to be QB number 2 if he could stay healthy? So Quinyon Mitchell is over there doing balling with the Eagles. But for the most part, Terrion, he'll tackle, he get his nose dirty. I'm not all off on him yet. But defensively, it was a beautiful game. I mean, they tried a trick play. I mean, the Lions, they know a lot about trick plays. Ben Johnson knew he couldn't get a fast one over on the Detroit Lions. Didn't really try it. But Baltimore tried to sneak one in there, and the Lions see it probably every day in practice. Now, I don't know how often people, follow with the videos, but I did a video, and John Morton was asked this offseason, will they continue to do trick plays? And he says he pretty much said whatever Dan wanted, that they were going to continue to do, they were going to continue to do trick plays. So he said it. So I'm pretty sure, trick plays, didn't start and begin with Ben Johnson, and everybody was saying basically Ben Johnson, he took the playbook and he took the magic, and people forget you got to have the soldiers. You have to have the soldiers to carry out the mission. And to the Lions have a bunch of has firepower. They got firepower. And and John Morton, he also, a lot of people don't know this, he also helped install this offense. And a lot of people may not know this as well too. He also was courted by Ben Johnson to come to Chicago before he came to Detroit. So apparently right now it's looking good. They found a way to to keep it moving. And today they lit the board up. Golf didn't have a lot of big numbers as far as throwing the ball, but the running game was so efficient. What they doing is efficient. And I think he found out the reason why Ben Johnson, in my opinion, I think he found out the reason Ben Johnson believed in setting up the run with the pass. I noticed he did that a lot in the Chicago game where John Morton started just to set the run up he started using the pass to set the run up. So I noticed that, and that's a lot of what John Morton did versus Chicago, and whatever reason that is, I would have to take a deeper dive into it. It works for the Lions. The Lions are better when they come out and they throw to open up the run. They come out with hard play action. They don't run the ball in early downs, and I don't think that's just a Ben Johnson thing. I think that's just a Detroit Lion thing. I think they're a better offense when they come out get into a rhythm and throw the football. I think they are that type of football team, but I think they had 7 sacks of Lamar Jackson. They gave up no sacks. I mean, he was in his bag. And the question is, after the first 15 to 20 plays, which are usually scripted, you had to ask yourself, what would John Morton do? And him going to the booth, I mean, he's done a marvelous job, and he knows what golf is comfortable with. Him and David Shaw brought some things over there. They got the offensive line, fixed. So, and it's still a work in progress. A lot of people was calling for, Frank Ragnow, and maybe someday he may come back. But for the most part, eventually Tate Ratledge will take over at center. And Frank Ragnow started at guard and moved over to center as well too. So it was just a really good game. I think they had something to prove the way Baltimore ran them over the last time. I think it was something to prove. I think they came out and was more personal. I think Baltimore probably was more relaxed. Lamar has an amazing record versus the NFC, and I just think it was just them. Like, the Lions really had more to prove than Baltimore. I know it kind of hurt Baltimore a lot from the fact that they lost to Buffalo, and I went to bed and thought they won that game. Now they going to Kansas City, and if it doesn't tie, the loser could be 1-3, and I still not worried about those teams. If we keeping it real, I'm not worried about it. I think they'll figure it out. But, today, I think what Calvin Shepard did was put a game plan that Aaron Glenn didn't put together. And I think also him putting that game plan together, they did things that they weren't accustomed to doing. They did things as far as playing zone coverage. They did things as far as, mixing up the coverages. And now the more zone, I feel like the more zone that they do play, the more comfortable they get more comfortable they will get at playing zone. Therefore, they will become more dangerous. So the more they learn to pass on zones and squeeze zones and dropping the proper thing, they'll be okay. But the one thing I will tell you is you're going to see them bring in somebody to continue to help anchor that defensive line until some of the cavalry gets back. So I think that's some things you will end up seeing happen. But like I said, it was an amazing game called by both. I think Calvin Shepard, he understands this. With him having his hair the way he has it and the tattoos, he has to be super duper great at his job to get an opportunity to be a head coaching job. I mean, you got to remember they made Rex Ryan's brother, I forget his name. They say if you don't cut your hair, you can't be a head coach. He couldn't be a head coach, and he stood on his morals. He didn't believe in cutting his hair. I mean, I think Rex Ryan brother, I don't get his name. I want to get his name right. I always bring that example up because some people may bring into race when it comes to hair. It's not about race. You didn't see Justin Herbert start. You didn't see. I think his brother name is Rob Ryan. I don't know how I forgot him. I think you started to see Justin Herbert started to get some of these. His brother's 62 now. Justin Herbert started to get some of these brand deals. You starting to see him on commercials and stuff. And one of the reasons why you may start seeing him on commercials because he cut his fucking hair. And you see a lawsuit down in Texas with the student that cut his hair. I would say that's not really racial thing. A lot of hair sayings go back a long time. They don't believe in men should have long hair, especially when you start talking about combat because it becomes a liability. Did y'all know that for a woman to signal that she was single, she would have her hair down. So a woman that wears her hair down is signaling to other men that she's available. You know what I'm saying? And that still may be to this day, and people may not even be coherent to that. They may not even just know why am I going for? Her hair is down, and maybe naturally that may be a thing that just clicks in your head naturally that she's available. So yeah, hair becomes an issue. That's when the NFL. I was watching the Raiders game yesterday, and they tackled Travis. They tackled Ashton Genty by his hair, and I know people were saying, "Oh, that's wrong." No, a few years ago they made the rule change because most of these older men, they don't believe in tattoos. They don't believe in long hair, men having long hair. Remember the Titans, my last reference. Remember that movie where Ronnie Bass came in, and if he was going to play on that football team, they made him cut his hair. So before you get into that, man, but hey, it is what it is, man. Going through some statistics, Goff 20 for 28, 202, one touchdown, no sacks. I mean, Lamar only has 6 incompletions himself, 21 for 27, 288, 3 touchdowns, sacked 77 times for 55 yards. Montgomery rushed the ball for 12 yards, 12 times, 150 yards, 2 touchdowns on 172-yard run. They almost took it to the house. Another long one for the touchdown to ice the game. Jahmyr Gibbs, 22 touches, 67 yards, 2 TDs. I know a lot of people saying, well, he's getting off to a slow start. Historically, he gets off to a slow start if you look at it as far as yards. Henry, I mean, they put the beast ball drill on Henry. The fumble towards the end, iced the game, 12 carries, 50 yards, 1 TD. And I looked up and he fumbled. I said, damn, that was quick. What happened? I thought it was a pick. Then, you see St. Brown, 7 catches, 77 yards, 1 touchdown. J-Mo, 2 catches, 43 yards. Laporta did a great job. And 2 of those catches for J-Mo came in the first drive. Well, 2. 4 for Laporta, but those was 4 big catches for 33 yards on a lot of third downs for Laporta. In addition to that, he did a great job blocking. Rashad Bateman today, he had a lot of back-breaking catches for them. I mean, he was just a chain mover, 5 catches, 63 yards, 1 TD. Big Ten guy, Mark Andrews, he was just all over the place. It was 1 out route. He scored for the touchdown early in the game that, it was just you couldn't defend it no matter how good Anzalone was in coverage. So, I mean, for the most part, I mean, Campbell had a sack. Barnes had a sack. He had a really good heads-up play, Derek Barnes, where he, was in coverage and waited for Lamar, and he closed that gap. So they put emphasis on that. Al-Qaeda Muhammad, shout out to him, coming to the starting line, 2.5 sacks. A lot of big plays. He had a couple plays that didn't even register as a sack because they crossed the line of scrimmage. 0.5 for Anzalone, big play. Hutch had a big forced fumble, and he had a big, sack at the ends. That Cunningham had a big tackle to really at the goal line, the stuff. I liked him coming out of Vanderbilt. The stuff, the brother Derrick Henry and Trevor Nowowski had another big sack on Lamar. So it was a team effort, man. And Jake Bates saved the touchdown on the field on a kick return as well too. So team effort going on the week 4 versus Cleveland. Their defense ain't no hoe. We'll see all that for a field. Hit the link in the description. First link, the link tree. Find me on X, Instagram, Spotify, Anchor, Cash App, Venmo, PayPal. Peace.